Hey guys, this is my chemical intercooler heat exchanger system that I devised. This is for the SL55 AMG Rentec. So this is how I'm going to have it running off my AC system for the summertime. Okay, what I have here is I devised the expansion valve. Okay, it's together right now. This is the actual, this is the heart, and then this is the, this is actually the heat exchanger that's going to cool the other heat exchanger. This is just for an example, this Garrett heat exchanger I have right here. I'm just using it as an example. It's not, obviously it's not the one in the Mercedes, which is underneath the supercharger. How this is going to work. Okay, now that I have it together, it might make a little more sense. Well, it's not together, but it's together enough to where I can see, this is a separate system. This and this that goes in here, it's obviously it's separate from here and here. First got the car, you know, before it got wrecked and I swapped the body and all, Mercedes had the, as you guys know who own these cars, the system was intertwined with the actual real radiator coolant reservoir. And obviously the first thing I did was separate the system. So to be doing any of these systems, the first step is to have a separate system. Oh, and what you got to make sure that you need to discharge your Freon system. And if you don't have a special filter circulation system, I'd recommend you go to the shop and have that done before you start any of this stuff. But now I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do. That's the compressor, AC compressor vacuum line. I'm going to tee right into here. Alright. It's a nice swift cut. Okay, the tee is in for the vacuum. Okay, here we are. So it's teed in here. Now I just got to connect my liquid line. This liquid line's I'm going to have a hose connect right here. Boom. I'm going to remove the line from the expansion valve so I can get access. And then I'm going to tee into the high pressure, which is a small one. It's hard to see. It's underneath this larger line. So I'm going to tee into there. That's going to go boom. It's going to go right here. That's going to feed the cooler, Freon, make that heat exchanger super cold. And then the exit of the heat exchanger is going to go boom. It's going to go back into, suck back into the compressor, which is interlooped with the same line as the evaporator right here. That's where the exit of the evaporator goes. And then, of course, I'm going to tap into right where before it goes into the evaporator, right into here. So simple enough. So, but this expansion valve is the key. I have no worries about it because it's a Mercedes, genuine Mercedes part, which I'm sure any expansion valve would work. It's just you have to figure out the piping. I mean, they're pretty cheap online. I just, you know, I've had parts. Alright, so the high pressure from the intercooler pump is going to come to here. It's going to come in. This thing will be disconnected, obviously. This will come in here, and it'll exit here. It'll go 90. It'll go right. This will be insulated straight into the heat exchanger underneath the supercharger. It's going to cool that. That heat exchanger is insulated because it's sitting in the valley of the engine, so I decided to insulate it really well because it wasn't. I don't know why Mercedes didn't insulate it, but it caused major heat soak issues, and it won't stay cool for a minute that way. It's always fighting, and it'll warm this heat exchanger. It's a very inefficient system. So, but anyway, that's fixed. It's going to go in here. It's going to cool. Boom. Go back in. That's going to go through the system. Goes through the cooler intake of the pump right after the cooler. Shoots right back up to here. Bam. Goes back in. Comes back out. Goes back in the cooler. The cycle continues. This is being cooled because the compressor is now connected. You got this line coming in, cooling the thing. Boom, exit back in there, recirculating through the system. Nice little expansion valve in here, keeping everything all nice and organized. And then my regular AC evaporator will be over here. And yeah, or just run off the AC. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. And then if this heat exchanger is fighting this one too much, because this is the last stage, it's going to be cooled, come out through here, because this is straight up after the heat exchanger, which goes in the intake of the pump. I have it just set up that way. Anyway, it comes through here, goes to the cooler, but now it's going to go through here, last stage. So hopefully, once the water gets heated up, this is going to help cool it down more, which it might heat it up more. That's where I might have to separate that system for the summertime from the heat exchanger in the front. But I won't know until I test that out. But for right now, I'm going to be working with the system simultaneous. I want to have a chemical heat exchanger as well as the water to air system. So, but that's pretty much it. I got to go to the store. So, to be continued. I don't know if I'm going to go right now or today. I really want to do this, and you know, once I get all the little pieces, it'll be done. But I got to get insulation line for here, because that is worn off, and that's a no-no. This whole line needs to be insulated, and all the lines need to be insulated. So that's another thing that's going to be done. But this is the gist. It's pretty much, it's on its way. And I'll have my own homemade, which, well, I didn't make that heat exchanger, but those heat exchangers, you could readily grab them. It's a transmission cooler off of BMW. And it'll function the exact same as, it'll work. It'll do the job that I want it to do. And it'll cool my heat exchanger underneath my supercharger, and I'll have cold AC, and I'll make more horsepower from my AC being on, which power would suck all summer long unless I had methanol injection, which, you know, that helps a lot. So, but that's the next thing I'll do. But this grabs the air and cools it and makes more mass air density. Methanol injection will cool the air, but it can't already grab. But you know what? It's the hot air. Doesn't have as much density in it. So regardless if you're spraying or how good this system is, you're all still up to how hot the weather is with it sucking in there. However, you can do the most you can, and that's what I'm doing in this case, is the most I can. Besides spraying methanol, which I should have already had that system. I just been buying parts for all these other cars, and I can't do every single one at the same time because I'm blowing through cash like you wouldn't believe on projects. So, and you know, it's all going out, not much is coming in, blah, blah, blah. You have to separate the systems in order to deal with it. So if you don't, you're dumb. So, well, I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. So, you know, anyway, I got to get to the fucking hardware store and get my hardware to finish this. Yeah, and then I'll fucking have this thing dialed tomorrow. And I got to get some insulation. I just don't feel like going to the damn store today. So